Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking. I'm your host for this podcast. This is episode 123 here on the Oakley Podcast, Trucking, Business, and Family. So on today's episode, we have our title sponsors, Aero Truck Sales guys have come down from Springfield, Missouri, and came to visit us today in studio. And we're going to talk to them about a lot of different things, about trucks, used truck pricing, trade-in, some examples that they've done, how Oakley has partnered up with Aero for all these years and some of the benefits of that. So got a lot of good stuff that we're going to talk to them about. But first, let's give you an Oakley update sponsored by Aero Truck Sales. Let's listen to one of Oakley's owner-operator experience with Aero Truck Sales.
Called Kenworth off of 440. Called Peterbilt, called Freightliner. None of them wanted to work with me. So Jeremy Kellett got me over to Trae Viser. Me and him had a conversation. He sent me to Keith Wilson and never looked back from that point. I was upside down $29,000 and change. They paid off all but $5,000 of my loan on a blown truck. That right there said a lot to me. You know, they were willing to step outside of their comfort zone to get my deal done. I never felt like a customer. It was more like a family feeling. He took care of every aspect of the deal. He was completely transparent. There was no hidden nothing.
So if you're in the market for a used truck, you owe it to yourself to call Keith Wilson at Aero Truck Sales in Springfield, Missouri. Tell him you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. So Oakley update today is I got a couple things. One is you're going to be getting a message. You already gotten it by the time this comes out. I'm talking to all our Oakley owner-operators about unsafe driving. So we had it wasn't that long ago that we were over the threshold in 5 of the basics for your safety rating as a company. And one of them was unsafe driving is what it's categorized as, and it includes speeding, seat belts, all moving violation tickets. And it was over the threshold. When I say over the threshold, that means you're getting looked at. Don't stay over the threshold very long or the DOT is going to come. So we have put in place, all this stuff. Technology has helped us out with helping our owner-operators get better at what they're doing. Of course, you got to give it all to them because they're the ones that make it high or make it low is the owner-operators out there driving every day. And we have dropped that to 24%, and that's a drastic drop. And less than 6 months probably.
I think he said last July or August.
Yeah, so within a year, it's gone down, and that's just a testament to how our owner-operators are driving out there. And we want to say thank you for doing that. Keep it up. It just shows what we can do as a company and when we put our mind to it. So, and thanks to the safety department, too, because I know they've worked hard at implementing a lot of programs trying to get our unsafe driving below the threshold, and it is, and doing good. So the other thing I had is I hadn't done this in a while, but I used to recognize owner-operators with us and been with us for a long time, and I was going to start that up and do that again. And the one I wanted to recognize today was a man named Tommy Halford. He is out of Beach City, Texas. He's been with Oakley 15 years, pulls a pneumatic tank. I think he's done that the whole time he's been here, actually. And he's got a 2020 Peterbilt, and he is just, he's been fantastic for us. I was talking to dispatch earlier, and I wanted to read this from what dispatch had to say about Mr. Tommy Halford. This is from his dispatcher. Handles his stuff and takes care of our customers on his dedicated deal. So he's doing a dedicated deal down out of the Houston Baytown area. always willing to help. Several times we have sent guys to his house, and he'll change teas and whatever broken parts we have. His wife will even cook them dinner. How about that? That's from his dispatcher, one of them, and then Bradley, that's dispatching for years, which is operations manager now. He said he will help anybody, anywhere, anytime. You call him and ask him, he will find a way to help you out. He's always gone above and beyond to make sure that the customer is taken care of and gets what they need. Easy to talk to no matter the situation. So, Tommy Hofford, you are the man at Oakley Trucking, and we just want to recognize you as being such a great owner-operator, and we appreciate you working here. All right, guys, let's get into this aero truck sales conversation and talk a little bit about your expertise in trucks. And we got Keith Wilson, Trae Viser on with us, and Dustin Eagle sitting to my right here hanging out with me. But we had you guys on a year ago. Somewhat, wasn't it, about a year ago?
Just over
a year, and you got a little update and how things change in a year.
It can go quick, can it? If you don't like it today, just wait a minute.
Yeah. And just to kind of give the listeners an idea, last year they came down. Of course, we've seen them since then. You guys over in Oklahoma and stuff.
Sure.
But they come down last year. We went to an Arkansas Travelers game in the evening, enjoyed a nice baseball game, went out to eat, had a good time. So
almost had a heat stroke.
We're doing a repeat, right, tonight.
Yeah.
As soon as we get out of here.
Tonight.
Yeah, it'll be a little cooler tonight. So, but, I think it's necessary for you guys to come down and not only we appreciate you sponsoring the show, doing that, but to give our listeners, y'all are on the inside of what's happening with used trucks out there. I mean,
Sure.
y'all got your finger on it every day. You do it every day, and I like to talk about that a little bit of what's going on in the trucking world and used trucks, and then also a little bit about our relationship and what we got going on, maybe some examples that we've done and how that works with Dustin and recruiting. I mean, that's a big deal of what how much y'all help us, and in turn we help y'all. So a little bit about that, maybe what it takes to get in a truck these days, how that's changed over the last couple of years, and a little bit if you can look into your crystal ball and give us a little future prediction.
I got it.
Update of what's going on. So
it ain't always right, but I'll give it to you.
That's it. We're good at opinions, aren't we?
Got plenty of them.
So what's going on at Aero Truck Sales, Trae?
Right now the market is in a kind of a volatile, weird state. I mean, we're in the swing back, what I would call it, from where we went from truck pricing, whatever you bought today, tomorrow was bringing more money. We had people calling, offering more money on trucks we had sold that a guy hadn't picked up yet, just because freight rates were high and everything was up in the air, to where we're coming back to more of a normal, I guess you could say, and stabilized market where pricing has adjusted back. Mm-hmm. We're getting back to what a guy could expect to pay for a truck, as opposed to some late model stuff was going for more money than you could buy a brand new one for, just because it was available and on somebody's lot. Yep. Now we're back to a space where trucks are becoming more affordable. Down payments are creeping down. We do have some down payment options, matching down payment options right now on certain models of trucks, just to try to move through some packages, some inventory that we've had longer than we'd like to have it.
Go ahead and tell us what those are.
Yeah,
if you don't care.
We've got on all our internationals and all of our Kenworth T680s, anything that has an international emblem on the hood or a Kenworth T680, we have a 10 for 10 matching down payment right now, meaning you bring $10,000 to the table, we'll put $10,000 with it and match it when you finance through Transport Funding, which is our in-house bank. You guys know them. You work every day with them as well. Now, if you wanted to pay cash, work with you on that too. We have a program for that. We take a $5,000 discount off of any of those trucks as well. So trying to help guys get into trucks and just help them with their down payment money to match what the bank wants to get them going. So
a year ago, 10,000 wouldn't have got you in the door.
No, we tell you.
No,
I'm ashamed to say what some of the down payments were a year ago. So, I mean, it was incredibly high because the banks know that the equipment prices will level off, so they're trying to protect themselves on the backside. And these are conversations we had to have with people is hey, look, we understand you have good credit. We understand, where you're coming from. You're stable. You've been with Oakley. You own a home, or you've been at your job forever. But the truck is fair price for the market right now, but the bank's looking at in 2 years when the market goes back the other way and you still owe too much on the truck, where does that leave them?
Yeah.
So if they get it back, so that's why those down payments were inflated. And I mean, I told one guy, I said, sir, you just put more money down on a truck than I paid for my first house. So it was a crazy time. The last 2 years, really, in the trucking business, especially our world in the truck sales business, was, I mean, it was tough. I mean, there was a time when I first started with Dustin when if a guy told you he had $8,000 down, you were clicking your heels that he could buy anything, you know. So, and that wouldn't even scrape the surface a year ago.
So I guess with the program that you're offering, the 10,000 down, you match 10,000 down. That tells us that it's getting a little bit better.
It's getting better.
It's getting more used trucks out there on the market.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that every truck that we've got that is under that program, that if you bring $10,000 to the table, that's going to get you in that truck. It may take 15 or 17 or 8, depends on your credit, price of the truck. You know, there's some variables there. But even if it does take more than 10, I mean, we're still giving you that 10.
Yeah, it helps a lot. And what it helps is it helps a guy coming in that maybe hasn't been an owner operator, or, you know, has put some money back, but maybe not quite as much as he would, you know, was planning. He doesn't have quite as much sticker shock when they come in to buy a truck from us, and it helps us move and manipulate to where we can get them in a truck down here orientation.
Well, some examples of that, I just recently, as of last month, I had 2 guys we had approved that couldn't get in a truck, you know, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I sent them to Keith, and with this new program, and a week later they've got trucks and they're coming to orientation. They're working.
Yeah, we can say we had 4 in the last 2 weeks, 4 or 6 guys that had bought trucks from us and down here in the last 2 weeks. So, and we were maybe 1 every 2 weeks, 1 every 3 weeks there when truck prices had hit the all-time high. And so we like to see that because we like talking to more guys. We like helping more people get on board. We like putting more people in more trucks. So,
is it going to go back, though, to where it was before? Like, what I mean by that, you know, a used truck being very reasonable like it used to be, like I don't know. I mean, a couple of years ago, you could get into a decent used truck for $50,000-$60,000.
Yeah, that was on the top side. I mean, you could buy a really nice truck for $60,000 or $70,000.
Yeah, right, right.
I don't see it going all the way back there,
Yeah.
but we're swinging back that direction right now as we speak.
Is that because we got more? You got more used trucks, or why is that? Why is it starting to swing a little bit?
Well, for the opposite reason of why it went the other way, right? So we had manufacturers weren't putting out any trucks, couldn't get the parts, couldn't get new inventory out there. Big fleets were holding on to their trade packages because they couldn't replace the trucks with new ones. So it created a shortage. We're not necessarily seeing a influx in used trucks hit the market. There's more because people stopped buying there for a little while because truck prices got so high. What we're seeing now is fuel prices are tipping, freight rates are dropping, demand has slowed a little bit because of those two things. Inflation's hitting people pretty hard, so everybody's kind of holding on to what they've got right now to try to see where the chips fall.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that makes them think twice about getting in a truck.
100%. I mean, and you think about all the variables that go into not just buying a truck and coming and going to work making a paycheck, but you've got to think about fuel costs, insurance costs, parts costs. What's it going to cost me to put tires on it when I need them? Are the parts available if my truck does break? I mean, what shop rates?
Well, it's just like anything else. I don't know. We compare it to frac sand a lot of times back in the day, but when the spot rates are way up high and everybody's throwing a ridiculous amount of money on these loads, well, a guy I'll pay whatever for a truck. I need it right now because these rates are high. But you know, and you try to get them to think, no, the rates are going to be high for a little while, but not long.
They won't. Yeah.
So you overpay for this truck. You get in there, you make some good money for 6 months or a year, and now it's gone. And now you still got the truck.
Right.
Yeah, you still got 3 years of
with a truck.
Yeah.
It's that's the way.
or
And
5 now with some of them.
and we're going to see a lot of that. You guys are going to see a lot of that, I'm sure, of guys can't get out of trucks.
Yep.
because they bought them at the wrong time and overpriced.
We saw there for a while where guys had bought trucks, some from us, some from anywhere else. But if they owned it for 6-8 months, if they bought it 6-8 months ago and they called you and said, hey, I need out of this thing and want to get something nicer and newer, you could get them out of it. And a lot of times they'd have some equity in it just because of when they bought it. Not necessarily that they stole it or bought it right, but the market was swinging up so quick that we could pay them more than they paid for it 6 months ago, even though it had more miles on it. So we're seeing the other side of that now. We're getting more and more phone calls of guys saying, hey, man, I bought this truck a year ago. It's breaking me. I need to get out of it. Well, what do you owe on it? Well, I owe about $140. And it's like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I know.
So we've seen the other side of that. And that's where we kind of got into it for a while there, into a rhythm with transport funding. And, these banks were wanting big down payments because they were trying to keep guys from basically hanging themselves with equipment, that they knew. And, to an operator or a new guy coming in, he may get stars in his eyes and see those freight rates and think, man, I could go make a killing right now. Well, that market swings back the other way too. And, we were talking with Benny before this, and, I kept looking at the 40-year employee award on his wall over there, and he was talking about, he said, it's always done this. And I've seen the same thing in my 10 years I've been doing it. So it's always a cycle. It goes up, it comes down, and it goes up and it comes down. So you just have to play in for the average, in my opinion, and try to get in the cycle.
Yeah, got to be smart about it.
Yeah.
How does Keith, how does the relationship work with you and the recruiters down here at Oakley Trucking? I mean, in Dustin, you two, I mean,
Sure.
what's the process?
Well, basically, I mean, when we get a qualified applicant, we get them approved here at Oakley, and they need a truck. We'll usually call Keith or email him or get him the information, and then Keith, goes from there, tries to get them in a truck as much as they can, and we work together all through the process. He'll call me with questions. We'll call him with questions. We all work good together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're constantly in touch. I mean, there's and everybody's a little bit different. I mean, some guys get sent through and they're absolutely 100% committed, ready to go, got a little money put back, have a good credit score. Those guys are easy. And then there's others that maybe don't have a very good credit score or don't have any money. I don't just shove those guys to the side. I'm like, what do you got set aside or saved up for a down payment? Well, $3,000. All right, well, $3,000 probably not going to get you anywhere. But this is what will, and,
So you can tell them, here's kind of what you qualify for. Maybe here's the range you need to be looking at in a truck, something like that. So this means you're probably going to need around this for a down payment.
Yeah, depending on what they've got down. And I ask them, some like pretty pointed personal questions. And I always tell them, I mean, I'm not trying to pry in your business, but these questions are important. I mean, it's going to let me know, kind of your credit profile and, well, we can't tell everything without actually having the credit app. But I mean, if a guy's been at his current job for 5 years plus, or and he owns his home and he's been there for 5 years plus, and he's got comparable credit because he's bought a house, paid off a couple vehicles, all that stuff kind of goes into determining not how good a fit he's going to be, but what he's going to qualify for,
And if they don't qualify, I mean, we try to, like Keith said, we don't just shove them to the side and say next. We try to give these guys a way to go and say, hey, you're a little light on down payment, or did you know you had, these little medical collections on your credit? If you get those cleared up, get that off of there, come back, and we can.
It gives them a goal to work toward. That's what we like to tell them. Every guy's not going to get approved. We all know that.
Right.
But
it ain't for lack of effort.
You can see, it might give a guy a goal for a year. Hey, in a year, you save this much money up.
He had a phone call on the way down here.
We can get you, work toward that goal.
Yeah.
He had a phone call on the way down here. A guy he'd been talking to for a year, and he's chipping away at that number we kind of gave him. That this would put you in the truck you want to be in, and
we've done it a bunch of times.
He just called me and said, "Hey, I'm getting closer. Give me another couple months and I'll be there. I just wanted to let you know I want to do business with you."
Well, you do the same thing with recruits, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the same relationship that works back and forth. What we try to keep in a pipeline with guys as far as what it takes to qualify and get into a truck. You guys are doing the same thing on, I'm sure points off your license or experience or whatever. The thing that helps us when we go to talk to a guy about a truck, we know if he's approved here, he's got a couple of the boxes checked the bank looks for already. He's got a couple years over the road experience. And he's got a haul source to go to work for, and those two are big points with the bank. And so we're already ahead of the game if they're approved to come to work here when we go to get them in front of transport funding or any outside lender that we may use.
So that does carry a little weight.
It carries a lot of weight, a lot of weight.
And they'll call us to verify that.
Yeah.
And okay, the obvious question, why is that? Why does that carry a little bit of weight?
The haul source or the experience?
The source.
The haul source. So we're to the point now when transport funding calls down here that I think they ask for the recruiters by name because they know, they've called so much. So when a guy's borderline as far as credit for whatever reason, if he's on the bubble, so to speak, if he's had some trouble in the past or
divorce or
went through a bad divorce, had a bankruptcy for medical reasons or whatever the case may be, if that underwriter is looking at the deal and they're trying to make a decision on to say yes or no, if they see the haul source is Oakley, then they can look back and think on all the loans that they've done for Oakley operators over the year and think, this guy's got a better shot of making it than he doesn't. Whereas if he's got down there, Roy Jones cattle hauling company and his name is Leroy Jones, it's like he's going to work for his dad hauling cows doing.
No offense, Jones family.
Yeah, sorry about that, but didn't mean to front you out there. But it makes that underwriter feel better to say, yeah, this guy's he's going to pan out because of where he's going to work. He's going to have guidance on his insurance. He's going to have good dispatchers. He's not going to have to worry about loads. He's not on a load board finding his own stuff.
And that's one thing I know the answer to the question, but I want our listeners to understand the answer because we said in here as recruiters, we wish other finance companies would understand that if they're going to Oakley, they've been vetted real good. They're going to make money. The chances of them being a successful owner operator are way more than going somewhere else.
Right.
The only time we sell a truck to an Oakley operator, and I won't say the only time, but 9 times out of 10, if we see that truck back, it's because he left Oakley and went somewhere else to chase a higher per mile and did not look at the bigger picture. And we will. That's 9 times out of 10. If we get a truck back and we knew we sold it, that's the first thing we call and say, hey, what happened?
Yeah. Some people make mistakes. They just, I had one on the phone down there a while ago before we come up here. A guy, one of our owner operators, called me and he was talking about swapping divisions, and he said, "Yeah, I was here a few years, and then I left." He says, "The stupidest thing I ever did. And I'm back." He's been back for a while now, and he said, "I, just didn't know chasing greener grass and shit. I should have known better." And we hear that all the time.
We hear that quite often too, and talking about our relationship back and forth. I mean, I know you guys get the calls about us, but we get people that call us all the time. Hey, man, what about Oakley? I mean, are they the real deal? Is it they really what they say they are? And then we've been knowing each other and doing this for so long. We say, how long you got, man? Because I can tell you, we can tell you freight rates and, that one show down in Catoosa there, that one guy thought I was a recruiter because I knew so much about it, So it works out when we work,
Well, y'all been to truck shows with us. You've been to Oklahoma at the putting on that driver appreciation over there for years. I mean, we spent a lot of time together.
Oh, yeah.
We have.
And that's what I was going to say. It helps us a lot in recruiting because we can call Keith and say, hey, this guy's approved. He wants to pull a hopper. Keith automatically knows what that entails. He knows he needs a light truck.
We know the weight. We know he needs virgin tires.
Hey, he's going to pull a pneumatic. And Keith, he automatically knows, well, we got to focus on, be able to put a PTO on the truck.
Yep.
And he's got a great relationship with our shop foreman, Toby.
Most of the time that goes pretty smooth.
Yeah.
He'll call him directly and ask Toby questions.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, we just want to make, I don't want to send something down here that we could have warded off spending 30 minutes in a shop and getting it scheduled in rather than getting it down here and then finding out, now we got to try to get it scheduled, and it's going to be 3 days, and this guy's going to be sitting here till next Tuesday before he gets his first load.
So what's a process? A guy buys a truck. What do y'all do to make sure it is a top-notch condition for a used truck? What do you got to go through?
So
inspection.
We start on the buy side. When we purchase a truck, we have it inspected through a third-party inspection agency because we want to know what we're getting. And the relationships that we have selling trucks to operators with you guys, we have a whole buying department that's got those same relationships with fleets where they know the quality of equipment that we're going to get. And then when we don't know, we haven't inspected. So we start there. We try to start off with a good piece of equipment when we get it. Then our company process, we send it to a third-party DOT shop. So we'll send it to Inland Truck Parts or MHC or Peterbilt or whoever can get us in. We'll have those guys do the actual DOT. We then take the truck to a separate third-party shop, have them make the repairs, and then the first shop verifies they're done right and then passes the truck. We do that for a couple of reasons. One, it gets us out of the game. We've had 2 shops look at it. We're not, playing favorites here, nothing biased. We don't have any skin in this game. We pay the same people to do our DOTs you do. So if something was missed, it just got missed. People are humans, so we're sorry about that. But so we have 2 shops verify it, and we have the one shop DOT and the other shop repair. That way we don't get a whole list of DOT items just because the shop knows they're going to get to fix it. And we can't go in and say, no, we don't want that done because they're a federal inspector. We can't argue with them on their DOT stuff. So it protects us too and protects the customer. We get it serviced, we'll change, send it over for a DOT, bring it back to the lot, picture it up, mark it for sale. After Keith puts an Oakley driver on it, and then Oakley sends the driver to him, then he goes through it personally, and then do you have a shop look at it again, don't you?
Yeah, I'll send it back to the shop. If it's a Kenworth or Peterbilt, I'll send it to MHC. If it's a Freightliner, I'll send it to Freightliner, and just have them go over everything and give it make sure there's no, anything outstanding on the truck. Make sure there's no recalls or campaigns on the truck. If there are, they fix them, and that's and then when it gets back, before the guy comes and picks it up, I have our shop, the shop that's attached to us. They're Wicks Truck Trailers. They do a lot of our service work and stuff. I just have them go through it one more quick time, check the air, check the fluid levels, make sure everything's right before the guy gets there. And then I get Brian, he's the shop manager there. He'll have either him or one of his runner guys will take that truck on a test drive just to make sure that something's not going to come up. Doesn't always work. I mean, I've sent guys from that. I've had a truck that we shipped all the way from San Antonio. Never had a check engine light. Not one. Nothing wrong with it. We looked it over once it got here, did a couple of minor things to it. It was stuff that I knew it was coming to Oakley, so I wanted it right. And before he gets here, check engine light. I mean, they drove the truck 900 miles. But
then you got that call from me.
Yeah, then right. Dustin calls you.
Well, actually, he called me. The guy called me, and he's like, "Man, I got to check engine light." And I'm like, "Well, get it in down there and get it fixed. Give it over to Bill.
Yeah.
If Bill can fix it, or we can get Bill to work on it. And I don't expect a guy to be out of pocket money when he drives a truck from Springfield to Little Rock and has a check engine light comes on. And it's a $20 fix or a $1,800. If it doesn't make any difference, I mean, we're always going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Now, if he's been driving the truck 3 months and something, goes a little bit haywire, and we hope the warranty takes care of it. But if the guy is just down and out, we're going to offer him a little help. Now, I'm not going to say we're just going to say, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll
sometimes
we'll cover it all.
The opinion of the right thing differs. That's where
exactly.
That's where we get hung up at there. But we try to do a little extra for Oakley guys. I mean, we do $500 off the extended warranty if they buy that. We'll make $1,000 of their first payment through transport funding, and then the 90-day warranty that we guarantee everybody that comes in and buys a truck on, I think it's a 15 model and newer now. Mm-hmm. It bumps to a 6-month, 50,000 mile warranty. So I mean, we try to do some extras and some extra thorough checking, and we don't sell any truck off, or we try not to off any other aero lot unless we look at it. We want them to bring them all to Springfield. That way we can say, yeah, we put our hands on it. So.
Well, that's the big reason. The main reason that we are partners and do so much business together is what you guys do after the sale.
Sure.
Because you can get anybody to get in a truck. I mean, for the most part, we can get, but it's what you guys do after the sale that makes a difference for us, that makes us want to keep having that relationship. Sure. Because you see the big picture.
Yeah, we try to.
You're not just, Keith's not just a salesman trying to sell a truck to a guy, and who cares what happens to him.
100%.
Mm-hmm. You guys have the same interest in mind that we do. We want them to be successful.
Right. We want to put people over profit.
Yes.
That's what we try to do, and in the long run, it works out for us. I mean, we don't want to just shove a guy in a truck and say we won. We want to sell him the next one and the next one. And I mean, I can't tell you how much business I've got from people that I sold trucks to 5-6 years ago that send referrals my way that have upgraded to new trucks, and they only bought that one truck from us. And Keith had a guy at a truck stop the other day, saw Oakley guy with a trailer, and went and flagged him down and asked him about it. He said, "Man, that's the best decision I made. I had a little trouble out of the gate, but they helped me out and got me rolling, and now I bought 2 or 3 brand new Volvos."
Yeah.
So when he flagged him down, he was more asking him about Oakley than he was Aero.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't in. Now he's not. I think he's bought a new truck since then.
Oh yeah.
Was it Dustin?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Golly, if you wouldn't ask me, I could have told you.
But anyway, he saw the Oakley truck, and he's getting ready to come here. So he's like, I'm going to go talk to this guy. And he ended up telling me he bought a truck from Trae 5 years ago, and he said, "You're making a wise choice, And then so he called me, and he's like, "Oh man," He said, "If running into somebody at a truck stop in Ohio, and you get that kind of, feedback," he said that makes me feel much better.
Yeah.
And we can't help all the time, but I mean we've had most of the time we will step to the plate and like Keith said, we'll do the right thing. I mean, Jared Jelks bought a truck from us. Should have been the nicest truck in the world. Had 200,000 miles on it and had just problem after problem out of the gate. And it wasn't really, our fault or his fault. It was under manufacturer's warranty. The truck kept breaking, and Peterbilt kept fixing, and it was the same problem. And they finally just put a whole new engine in the truck. But we made a truck payment or 2 for him, because it wasn't his fault and it wasn't our fault. But he's one guy operator. We're a big company, so we try to step in and help where we can. So.
There's several of those examples you guys have done.
There's a ton of them.
There's
a bunch
a lot.
of them.
Yeah.
Shane Allen had a Mac that he bought from us that the previous company ran the wrong kind of coolant in it for so long that it pitted the liners in the engine. And when we put the right coolant in it, when it came back, apparently it and I'm not a mechanic, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but it basically blew the engine. So we needed new liners, new injectors, new everything. It was $38,000.
Oh my gosh!
Right out of the gate. So wasn't his fault, wasn't our fault. But what do you do then? Do you tell the guy, sorry, I bankrupted you, and you go home and lick your wounds and tell your wife you don't have a job anymore? By the way, we lost all that money. Or do you step in and do the right thing? So we stepped in and we paid the money, and I sold him another truck after that 2 or 3 years later, and still talk to him all the time now. So. I mean, it's just there's a lot of those stories, and it, like you said, when we take the small transactions out of it, and you look at the big picture and the business we've done over the years, and the people that we've helped, and the relationships, and the times that people tell people at truck stops, if you're looking for a truck, I'd go see this guy. I mean, those are intangibles that are invaluable to us. You can't buy that type of marketing and advertisement, and it may cost you a little money, out of the gate. But in the big picture, I mean, we're in this thing for the long run. So,
yeah, well said. Well said. Are there any more gliders out there?
We don't do a whole lot with gliders, and I'll tell you why. Because we've seen a lot of problems with them. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of people that have bought gliders that have blown them up in a relatively short amount of time.
I've heard that.
You're taking a new truck with a used engine that they put new parts into, but the block is still 20 years old, or however many years old, and they constantly blow up, and they're so daggum expensive,
Yeah, I know. That's what made me ask that. As I was downstairs, Corey was looking at one. He had a guy looking at a glider he'd found on some website, and it was like an 18 model Peterbilt, I think, and it was like $230,000.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that is insane.
Or 18.
Was that, 18 or 19 miles.
In
theory, it's the best of both worlds. It's a new truck with a pre-emission motor. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah, and they're terribly hard to finance.
Yep.
I mean, really?
Oh yeah, I'm not saying there's no companies out there that will finance one, but there's a lot more won't than will. I know that.
Yeah. And I know there's some guys that have had good luck with them. There's probably somebody listening to this podcast driving one right now going, no, that's the best
we
thing
do. We
I've
got
ever
some
done.
here.
Best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But as a whole, we've had more people call us to try to get them out of them because they keep breaking on them and keep having to.
So y'all don't pursue those.
We don't. We don't go after them.
You don't look for them.
We won't. We don't even like to trade for them.
Gotcha.
Because just like Keith said, they're hard to get financed and they have problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I'm sure there's guys that are tickled to death with what they got. I mean,
Right.
but it's just one of those things we don't deal much in.
So what does it look like 6 months, a year from now in the trucking world?
Man,
As far as used trucks for sale and selling them and buying them, and
if I could tell you, I can make all of us a lot of money. But I mean, that's $1 million question. We don't even try to forecast out that far because you can't. I mean, we try to look 30 days at a time, and that's where we're at with it.
look like the used trucks though that they're there to get, or are they going to be high mileage?
No, they're going to stabilize. I think you probably will see some high mileage more on the average used truck for sale. If you took all the used trucks for sale in the country,
Fleet's starting to trade them in.
Fleet's starting to trade them in. The average mileage will be higher when the market does catch up
for longer.
Right. So
We'll still be able to get some lower mileage trucks.
Sure.
I mean, that's just arrow. I mean, we have enough
I was telling
buyers and buying power and contacts all over that I think we'll always be able to.
we were talking to Benny earlier. Was that me and you down there? Anyway, Benny Weatherford. If people don't know him, I can't get him on the podcast, but he's.
we gave it our best effort.
Yeah, I know. Y'all down trying to get him on there, but he won't. He was. That's another story. We went in a meeting here. I don't know, a couple months ago, and me and Justin Oakley and a couple other guys and having a meeting. Well, here come Benny walks in, and Justin introduced him as the godfather of Oakley trucking. So that's pretty much, if you don't know who he is, he's the godfather of Oakley trucking, is Benny Weatherford. So been here over 40 years.
Yep.
But anyway, we were telling him, we were kind of bragging on you guys that y'all have a real good knack of getting trucks,
Yep.
buying trucks constantly. When people don't have trucks, y'all got trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Because we saw a bunch of that in the last year or two. People just, I ain't got any trucks. We don't have any to sell. And
I mean, I think there's about 150 years experience combined between all the buyers in our buying department. I mean, they've been doing it a long time and have a ton of contacts.
they're good at it.
And they do a real good job of going out. And it's the same thing like with us in our relationship. They have those same relationships. So when trucks do become available, they get the first phone call. Yeah. And that goes a long way for us in our buying department.
And I think a lot of recruits don't understand still, even though they find one in Houston, Aero, or Cincinnati, Ohio,
Right.
You can still sell. You can still sell them that truck.
Yeah, we can take care of them. And, and do.
You know, they think some of guys think they got to talk to the Cincinnati store.
No,
but,
I mean, we can pick them from everywhere, and you know, not saying that we're inconsistent as a company when it comes to financing, but Keith and I put a lot more thought and process and effort in the Oakley deals, and just really trying to figure out how can we make this work. You know, I mean, do we need to trade for some mini donkeys, or do you have a 4-wheeler you don't really ride that much?
Boat with a hole in it.
Yeah. Can you, do you have a farm truck with a title? I mean,
it's happened.
Yeah, it's happened. We try to figure it out, and then, we bring that truck from another air location, and then we run it through the process we spoke about earlier. So we try to start a guy off as best we can, on the best foot we can. Then we stand behind him best we can, and we try to sell him a warranty that's going to take him the rest of the way. So we ultimately want to have him come back at the end and go, man, that was fantastic. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like we put more effort into making sure, and not that we don't DOT and service and check out every truck that we sell. But if I'm selling a guy a truck that's coming to Oakley, I feel like I'm vested in that.
yeah.
I'm like,
well, our name's on it.
I'm gonna get the wrath of Oakley if something goes wrong.
Have you ever gotten a wrath?
Never.
All right. Kent brings it all the time, doesn't he?
Okay.
I've looked at that phone and it said Jeremy Kellett, and I said, whoa.
Yeah.
We'll let him leave a message.
Yeah, it's usually us that calls. Now Jeremy's calling you, something's up.
Don't answer that right now.
Let that one go.
Sometimes I call to see how the bass fishing's going.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk.
And
about
by the
bass
way,
fishing,
Yeah.
Yeah. We ain't even got to the main subject of this podcast yet. We're going to talk bass fishing. That's what me and Keith can talk.
Fishing update report coming in hot.
Yeah.
But, they can buy a truck from any aero location.
Anywhere.
But we want them dealing with.
But we want them, right. I want them
they need to call you.
With me.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we'll get that truck. I mean, if we can get them to help us to get that truck, pay part of the transportation cost, then that's good.
Because y'all basically have to buy it from that dealer.
No, we don't.
No.
But we got to pay to get it to us.
But we have to pay to get it to us.
Okay.
And it's we hire a transportation company.
You boys at Hall Freight, man. Y'all,
we charge
Oh,
it.
my goodness. You're proud of it.
Hefty
Lord.
price.
Yeah. But, I want that truck at my place so I can look at it, so I can put eyes on it. Because I don't want a guy to go pick a truck up and call me and say, hey, this is not what I thought
Did you know
it was
this
going to
dog
be.
chewed both door panels off this truck?
Yeah. And sometimes we get trucks in like that.
Yeah.
That, the guy had a dog, and he happened to really like the door panel on the left side.
Yeah.
And it looked like he got upset when he got left, and so he chewed a dog.
Yeah.
And once you get past the truck is okay, then it's the paperwork.
Right.
Right.
Where's the title? Oh,
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a whole nother
Yeah.
And that
podcast.
And that's and I think
that'd be an hour or two.
And I think we do a good job of that on the backside. Amy and Wendy, they work
That's
together.
a smooth process. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't have to worry about that at all. And
Yeah.
that makes it's awesome
And
not to have to deal
again,
with that.
that's just going back to experience and rapport. And she knows what y'all need. Y'all know what we need. Works great.
Yeah, it
We
does.
know when we get somebody committed, Wendy's going to send an email and say, what can you tell me about?
Recruit call you and say, I'm buying a truck from Arrow. It's kind of like weight lifted off your shoulders.
Yep.
I ain't got to dig into this.
Yeah. Well, now, we try to make it as seamless as possible for all parties involved. I mean, we try to make it easy to do business with us.
Because when they don't, there's a really good point, Dustin. When they don't buy a truck from you guys, they buy it from somewhere. And we got, don't get me wrong, I mean, they buy it from, we got other relationships here local. But I'm talking about you buy, sorry to disappoint you, Keith. But you talk about they buy it from someplace we don't know, then it's the recruiter's on the phone. Hey, here we need to do the title work. Well, no, you're not doing this. We got to talk to them. The salesman don't know. Then we got to go to the next step and talk to that person. And
then we got to get a hold of the finance company, and then they got to call somebody. I mean, 2-day process just to get a title.
It adds a lot of work to a recruiter.
Yeah. Sure.
To get the correct pay and convincing them that we can do the title work. That's a whole nother issue.
All I can say is Miss Wendy's got us whipped into shape.
Yeah, she does.
That son gun is here the next morning. FedEx, 9:30 a.m.
Tracking number.
I'd rather get the call from you saying this guy's truck is broke than get the call from her saying where is my title.
Where is the paperwork?
So that's right. That's good.
We try to have it here quick, and it works good because you guys do the title work. And the bank's happy because the lien's recorded right and everything gets taken. Everything's good. It meshes well.
Good relationship, guys. Good stuff.
That's what this whole business is about. At the end of the day, I mean, it's about the good relationship between us to get the truck, good relationship between y'all and the load source to get the load, and the dispatcher and the driver. I mean, it's all a relationship business. We're on the people.
You got to get past, and I've told a lot of people this, you got to get past the mentality of getting a deal. I need a good deal.
Mm-hmm. So
you don't need a good deal.
Let's talk about what that is.
Yeah.
What is a good deal?
Right.
Is it the price you paid for the truck? Or is it knowing that you're going to get taken care of should something come up, and knowing you ain't got to worry about your paperwork, knowing that you've got a warranty to back you? I mean, I ask people that all the time. You're talking about price or cost.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about here? What to you is a good deal?
That's a good point.
I mean, we don't want to be the cheapest truck out there because then that means we cut out all the things that help the people we sell trucks to. I mean, that we've never wanted to be that, and I ask people all the time, if my truck was the same price as his truck, who would you rather do business with? Well, you. Well, why? Well, you got a 90-day warranty. Well, why? Well, you can give me finance. Well, why else? Well, you got a good relationship with Oakley. Well, why else? And the list just keeps growing. I say, well, now you see why we're just a hair higher because you get all that stuff.
Hey, I've bought those things that are good deals.
Yeah.
I've done that. I mean, I do some yard selling and some shopping around and buying stuff, and I'll get me a good deal. Well, at the end of the day, I've got this good deal where really all I'm getting out of it is I can say I got a good deal. I can brag about it.
Right.
I'm not really, done anything but satisfy my own
need for a good
deal.
I can't tell you the amount of guys we talk to that look for, they want to be under a certain price. Well, I got to be under this. Well, sir, it can't be done for the truck you want. You can't do it. I mean, we know the market. We know, no, and they look for that dang thing forever. Yeah. And then they call, and I finally asked the guy the day, I said, sir, how much money have you lost looking for that deal that you could have already been working for 3 months and made all that back and then some? I mean, I don't get it.
It's some kind of mental.
Yeah, I mean,
it's.
Everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
Some people just got to win, and then they put a mark in their mind of where they're at. But we have that conversation quite a bit. Well, I want a deal. Well, what is a good deal to you?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you? To me, I want quality. I want to not worry about it. Dependability. I want service after sale, and I want somebody staying behind what they sold me. That's when I go buy a pickup or something. That's what I want, and that's what we try.
And
to
I
do.
think a little bit of experience and maturity you come to that, because I can remember, being younger, I didn't, a warranty I never thought about.
Yeah.
Now I think about warranty,
Absolutely.
of things that I buy or things.
Right.
Yeah.
I can tell you that
Miles care less about warranty. He just wants it right now and buy it.
I can't tell you the conversations we have with people, and they say, I don't need that warranty. Yes, sir, you absolutely do. I would not buy. I can't force you to buy it, but I can strongly suggest and urge and push you to protect your business by buying that warranty, because it will save your behind. It's not health insurance. It's life insurance. If
for an owner operator.
Yeah, if something catastrophic goes wrong, you're gonna wish you had it. So.
And we get, and I had one of those calls on the way up here. We get guys that are like, can I get my money back on? I bought a 4-year warranty and I'm into it 2 years. Can I get the rest of my money back? Well, why do you want to do it? For one, that's a question for the warranty company. But why are you asking? Well, this thing just doesn't pay for nothing, And I'm like, what didn't it pay for? Well,
I changed the oil 3 times.
Yeah, I had a couple of airlines go bad, and I had a you know, I had a coolant hose go bad, and I had airbags go bad, and they won't pay for none of that. I'm like, no. I mean, and it's not supposed to.
No.
But if
It doesn't say it does.
it does not say it does. But the stuff that it's supposed to cover, it's going to cover.
Mm-hmm.
So-
And if it doesn't, and you think it should, pick the phone up. Call me.
Yep.
Let's figure out, you know, because there's two sides to every story, and they don't always get it right. You know, the warranty company doesn't always get it right.
Yeah, that can be a whole nother episode dealing with
Well,
warranties.
that's where we're talking about where it circles back to relationships, because we sell so much of NTP product. We can call and say, hey, look, here's the deal. You know, Roy Jones Cattle Company did end up buying that truck from us, and you know, blew a turbo and it dumped oil into the emission system, and they told us, you only want to pay for the turbo. You need to pay for that emission system too. And we can force their hand at that, and we've got a whole department that's what they do. They handle our warranty claims with NTP, and they say, look, two sides to it. They call the shop and say, look, you're crazy. This job should take 2 hours, not 5, and it should be, you know, $150 an hour, not $205. And you know, they help those guys on that end of it, but then they also call NTP and say, I really think you ought to pay a little more on this bill, and here's why. And they work with those guys on the backside to make sure that stuff's done. But the biggest importance is, like Keith said, if we don't know about it, we can't help you. You know, pick up the phone, give us a call, let us know you bought the warranty. They're not doing what you think they should be, and we will backfill and cross-check them there.
Well, first of all, nobody reads a warranty, do they?
No.
I don't. I mean,
No. What's it going to cover?
Typically.
Engine, transmission, ramps? Great. Sign it.
That's right.
Yeah,
and
you
I
know,
mean and that's really why you're getting it.
Yeah.
You know, then you just, I mean, warranties is a whole. Well, I don't know. They can be frustrating, kind of like insurance sometimes.
Yeah.
We need to get them down here and have them on the podcast.
Yeah.
It can until
We need
until
somebody-
you blow that engine.
Yeah. Right.
And then, you know, I mean, because, golly, we've
But
seen
then
them
some
pay-
of them try to figure out why it blew.
Oh, yeah.
And it was your
Right.
fault. No, I mean, I hear those stories.
yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
that.
yeah.
You know, but
I
you
mean,
just hear that story.
they will. I mean, you know, we had a guy burn a transmission up because he never checked underneath the truck, and it was leaking for 5 weeks, and then he ran it out of transmission fluid and gets to the shop, and he's mad at us because warranty won't cover the transmission. Well, no, you ran it out of fluid. You never. I mean, you know, I wouldn't pay for it either.
Right.
But, you know, we have those stories, but then, you know, we tell people a story all the time. We sold a guy a $20,000 truck and begged him and actually took a discount on the truck to get him a 6-month warranty, and he drove it 2 weeks and blew the motor. The truck was $20,000. The motor they put in it was $30,000.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And we kicked in some of that too, because the warranty company they said, hey, look, the truck's only worth $20,000, you know, so they put a $30,000 motor, and there was some other stuff in there, turbo or some other stuff, when we ended up buying that and put the guy back to work, and he's bought 2 trucks and a trailer from us since then.
Yeah.
So it you know, it's important. And
Yeah,
now he tells people, and we don't even have to ask him. We just know he wants to buy the warranty because he's like,
Yeah, the second truck he bought after that one paying off, you know, he's like, he wanted the second truck, and so I priced it to him, and I said, no, I'm sure you don't want the warranty. He said, I want the best warranty you got.
yeah.
He said, you have sold me on the warranty.
A firm believer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he used that one quite a bit too. I mean, it just, they're machines. You know, people call us, say, oh, you sold me a bad truck. Well, I didn't know I sold you a truck I thought was good, but you know, I don't know when stuff's going to break. We don't have a crystal ball. We can't see into the engine. I mean, we just do our best due diligence up front to make sure what's broke right now is fixed, and then protect you on the backside and have some backstop with a warranty when it does break. So,
Last thing I got, Keith, is a podcast worth doing. Is Arrow sponsors this podcast, and I asked you this downstairs earlier. We talked a little bit about it, but do you hear much from the podcast people listening to this podcast?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I get, not a week goes by that I don't have 1 or 2 or more guys call me and say, hey, I've heard you on the podcast, listen to this, listen to that, and you know, it's, yeah, absolutely.
Good.
I mean, I've had guys call me that said, 2 guys called me that said, I haven't contacted Oakley yet, but I've listened to their podcast. What do I need to get in? What do I need to do to get qualified for a truck? Or you know, what can I expect before I call them? Because if I can't get in a truck, then there's no need for me to go through that process.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, so I talk to him, and I'm like, and then I become the Oakley recruiter.
Yeah.
Because he better go there.
Yeah, and it helps. The podcast helps us too because we listen to it as well, and we like
we
like to get the company updates
kinds
and
of stuff from the podcast.
Get the lowdown, don't you?
well, we know what's
Yeah.
going on. you
Yeah.
know, and we see those other little relationships you got on the side too. We don't really.
Yeah. Sometimes I mute them.
Yeah,
I hear
yeah.
about that every day.
It's like watching somebody take your wife on a date. You know,
Feel
you're
feel
like,
like we're cheating on you.
yeah, what are you doing down there?
Oh man, I know it. That's a tough deal. Well, I really do appreciate you guys' relationship and not just sponsoring the podcast, but it just works, man. It works, and it takes time and effort.
It does.
Takes money, but
Learning.
you know we've been doing it a long time now, and you know it just feels good that we got confidence in each other and what's going on, and
Sure.
and we know when you're able to
Yeah,
deal with
it's
recruiters
not
and-
just business. I mean,
Yeah.
we you know, it's personal too.
we're
We're
helping
friends.
people.
We get out of work and hang out, and
Oh yeah.
and I think that makes a big difference too.
You know, we see
we all get along.
We like to see people at the company parties and the appreciation things and stuff that we've sold trucks to over the years and over the past, and we can do those type of things. I know dealers have sold trucks to people, they can't show up to those type of events.
That's right.
They might not make it out of there. But
Feels good when you see somebody be successful and it comes back and you're a part of that.
yeah, you
Oh,
you
yeah.
had a hand in
Yeah.
in helping that guy. I mean, I can't tell you the number of guys that I've seen go buy new trucks, and we traded him out of a '66 Oldsmobile to just get started. And you're like, go out there and you pray over the truck with them because they ain't got enough to fix the blinker when they leave. It's like, we need this to work out, and then they come here and you look at the company or the driver appreciation deal, and they pull up in a new Peterbilt or a new Volvo, and you go, man,
That's what it's all about.
that's why we do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate it. Anything else to add? Good. That's some
No, thank
good
y'all
stuff,
for
man.
coming down.
Yeah, thank y'all for coming down.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. Thank you so
Definitely going to
much.
enjoy the rest of the evening here with you guys. And once again, we appreciate everybody on the Oakley Podcast listening to us and checking us out on YouTube and spreading the word about it. It makes a difference. We try to do our best here to give out good, honest information to our listeners. So, you can make a decision if maybe coming to Oakley is good for you, or if buying a truck from Arrow Truck Sales is the right place for you.
Yeah, and if anybody out there listening's got any questions, even if you're not buying a truck from us, if you just want to double check, or if you want to ask something about the truck, or really anything, give us a call and we'd be more than happy to talk to you. We get we had a guy refer a couple people to us that ended up buying their truck from somewhere else, but liked how we did things. He called us after the sale, and we kind of told him some shops we deal with in the area, and he sent us a few referrals. But if you got any questions, if you just want to know, really anything about buying a truck, financing a truck, the truck sales process, give us a call. Keith or I would be more than happy to talk with you, talk you through it. If you are going through your local bank or buying a truck somewhere else or buying from an individual or whatever the case may be, and you want some guidance on that, we'd be more than happy to talk with you and help you, tell you the do's and don'ts, what to look for, what not to look for. And we just want to help people get started and get out there on the right foot. So
Good advice. Trae Viser, Keith Wilson, Arrow Truck Sales, hanging out with us. Mr. Miles Mason, you're going to put their information up on the screen, aren't you, sir? He's hanging out with us, too. Dustin, appreciate you,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Good episode. Everybody, thank you for listening to the Oakley Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, comment, like. Check us out on all social media platforms, and we'll talk to you next week.